Jules here, back for day 10 of Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot. Today's prompt asks me to talk about my top underrated tarot decks. This was a bit of a challenge as I love every single one of the decks in my collection, so I decided to take a specific focus for this prompt, and I'm looking for some of the decks, some of the decks that take an eco-friendly approach, whether it's using soy-based inks, recycled materials, or local printing. I understand that this isn't accessible for a lot of creators because the cost goes way up, but I do think it's pretty cool that these particular creators were able to facilitate this approach, and I wanted to profile some of the decks. This isn't an extensive or inclusive perspective on everyone that's using this approach. It was just the decks that I was able to focus on when I looked through my decks today. The first deck that I want to talk about is the Velita Oracle by Betty Skeet. This one was printed and produced in the UK, and it's absolutely stunning. I love the black background. It really helps the colors in the images to pop. I love that each of the cards has a keyword and associated meaning. The colors are bright and cheerful and perfect for spring. I've started switching up a rotation of decks based on astrological seasons, and I'm really excited to bring this one out in the spring, probably for Taurus season, because I think it will really encapture spring vibes. It's really lovely. And this is the tuck box that comes with this one. This is a first edition printing. The deck is currently out of print, but I think there is another printing scheduled at some point in the future. The next deck that I want to talk about is also by Betty Skeet. It's a Velita Woods Tarot. This one is sadly completely out of print with no plans to print another, but I still wanted to profile it as I feel it's a beautiful deck, and the images are just lovely. I love that each of the suits has a slightly different color palette. The swords, it's more yellow, the cups are blue, the wands have more of a pink feel, and then pentacles, it's green predominantly. Yeah, this deck is so lovely. I love the inclusion of plants, simple imagery, but very poignant and specific to the meanings of each of the cards. The next deck that I would like to share is the Northern Animal Tarot, which is produced here in Canada, in Alberta actually. It's a lovely deck. I really adore animal decks. The background is nature-based. Yeah, and there's so many beautiful animals depicted in these images. I like animal decks because it removes gender from the equation and creates a neutral reading platform for anyone to access the meanings of tarot from. There tends to be more inclusivity now in tarot, which I really appreciate, but I do find myself gravitating towards a lot of nature decks for that very reason. The images are just lovely. I believe that there is or was recently a second run of this deck on Kickstarter, so definitely check it out. Linda's a very talented creator. The next deck that I want to talk about is the Transient Light Tarot by Ari Weisner, and Fausta Jolie wrote some beautiful poetry in the deck. This is another one that focuses on zero plastic, eco-friendly printing, etc. I just love the images in this deck. There's simplicity in the depictions, and it helps me focus specifically on the meanings of each of the cards. I believe that, yeah, the cups are vessels in this case. Swords are the same, wands are the same. The court cards have all been renamed here. There's a real attempt in this deck to provide gender neutrality, and I love that approach as it is far more inclusive, so that anyone coming to work with this deck can feel that they're being represented, which is really important. And the pentacles are coins in here, which is another traditional depiction. Yeah, and the writing that comes with this deck is really beautiful. I mean, so much love and care has been put into this, and I really appreciate it. The other deck that I wanted to reference is the Trinity Tarot, also by Ari Weisner, and it is a gorgeous deck. Super simple images, but they're perfect for bringing in the meaning of each of the cards. And again, the court cards, there's the Keeper of Swords, there's the Crown of Swords. Let's see what the other reference, oh yes, and then the Knights is the Champion. And then I believe there's an Apprentice for the pages, which is really, really cool. So yeah, I really appreciate all of these decks. There's so much love and care that's gone into all of them. I appreciate the eco-friendly focus to printing and production. I think that's a really great initiative. And yeah, so I would love to know, what are your most underrated decks? I'm always on the lookout for new insight on tarot. Thanks so much.